sending positive healing energies to your friend, Lynn. And hopefully she'll be here next. Yeah, she'll definitely have to be here next week because next week will be our 7-year anniversary for Connecting Caregivers Radio, which is woohoo! It's very exciting. I think of how many guests we've had and so many different topics and just the changes that have happened in 7 years in healthcare and Alzheimer's and dementia and everything. So I first we want to say hi to Mr. Ed on the boards.
Will it be cake next week?
Maybe. I kind of like Prosecco would be nice. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see.
Well, drinks and cake might be the only way we entice Lynn to be here.
Yeah, maybe. And today I have 2 great guests on the show. I have Mary Gynn, who is a diabetes educator, amongst the whole other things that we're going to talk about. So welcome, Mary.
Oh, here I am. Thank you.
And then I also...
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I also have Alder Allensworth, who's an author of a book for kids talking about dementia, which I think is so fabulous. So I'm just going to give out a shout out to our newest listeners. And we have Jenny in St. Pete, and we have Nancy in Largo, and we have Virginia in Pennsylvania. And if Lynn was here, she would say, welcome, ladies. So I always say we welcome anybody new or regulars around the Connecting Caregivers table, whether you listen to us when we're on the radio or on Facebook or on YouTube or replays or whatever. We just want to bring you help and hope. A little information, a shoulder, a laugh, because we know caregiving it's not an easy thing. It can be a very tough road. And you know what I say, it can be the most horrific experience of your life or can be close to beautiful depending on how you handle it. And a lot of handling it is about getting an education. It's about admitting there's something going on and just talking to the people that are around you. You know, a couple of months ago, I was in the mailroom where I live, and there was 2 ladies in there. I didn't know either one of them. And the one lady opened up her mailbox, and it was so stuffed, all the mail just fell out on the floor. And she started crying. And I'm thinking, it's only mail. And I'm picking up the mail, helping her, and she said, oh, my God, my husband has dementia. I can't even get out of the house to even, pick up the mail anymore. And the other lady in the mailroom says, my husband has dementia, too. And I was like, ladies, you need to be friends, and you need to be my friend. Yeah. Because we need to talk about it. We need to share about it. Mm-hmm. And now I see them walking around the complex with their 2 husbands. So, and no one gets it. Who, especially Alzheimer's and dementia, if they haven't been in it. You can have ideas about it, but until it actually happens to a loved one of yours or someone you're taking care of it, you just can't get it. So I'm so glad that you're here today, Alder. We met at an Arden Courts networking breakfast a couple weeks ago. And like I say, I think kids really need to talk about this. So tell me a little bit about yourself and how this happened.
Well, thank you for having me here, Linda, and 7 years helping caregivers. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that. This whole project started, my mom had Alzheimer's, and I would go see her, and on school holidays, the little ones, the grandchildren, would come and visit, and over a period of time, they noticed changes.
Right.
And things started happening. And one of the little ones, who was 7 at the time, Olivia, she was drawing monsters. That was like the big thing, to draw monsters to help you. Well, she was showing them to my mom. Next day, they were gone. Just disappeared. And she started, well, a bit dramatic. Gran stole my monsters. I know she did. And just so dramatic, you know how kid can be. Well, we found the monsters in Mom's laundry basket and had to explain to little Olivia that Gran didn't do this on purpose.
No.
She's not trying to hurt you.
No.
She's not trying to be mean. She's got this disease called Alzheimer's. And how do you explain that to a 7-year-old? How do you explain that the person's brain is not connecting and not working right?
Yeah, it's interesting. A caregiver that has been in my support group for a long time, her husband passed, but they still come back,
Mm-hmm.
And So her husband had Alzheimer's. Now he used to go fishing with his grandchildren and this and that. They did a lot of outdoors thing. And all of a sudden he was getting real snappy.
Mhm.
And his children didn't want to tell their children that grandpa had Alzheimer's. And one day he lets loose on the 10-year-old for nothing, whatever.
Uh-huh.
And so grandma finds the 10-year-old behind the barn crying.
Yeah.
Why is Grandpa yelling at me all the time lately? Nothing's different, and this and that. And she said, your Grampy has a disease and your parents are going to tell you all about it tonight. And she called her kid. She said, too late. Now you got to tell them.
Mhm.
Well, you know what? When next time he came to visit his Grampy, when he hugged him even tighter.
Oh, of course, because he understood then and he wasn't afraid anymore.
Right.
And that's what's so important.
If Grampy had cancer, you'd say Grampy had cancer.
Right. But people are afraid of Alzheimer's and they don't know what to say.
Yeah. And is it contagious?
Yeah, exactly.
Kids think that sometimes.
And we talk about that. We have a song.
Okay.
It's called Mackenzie Meets Alzheimer's Disease Story Song, and it's free on YouTube. It's an animated video, and it's a great place to get kids
Start the
to
conversation.
start the conversation. It's like a cartoon. It's about 6 minutes long, and we talk about all those things because Alzheimer's is much more than people just forgetting.
Yeah.
As you talked about, there's the anger, there's the shortness of temper because the person's confused.
Right.
At what age do you start? What age do you suggest?
With our animated story song video and our children's book, we can.
So let me hold up for the people that are on YouTube.
All right.
Well, there you go.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Probably 3-4 years
Yeah, so
old.
you can read it to them.
Read it. This is a picture
Kids are
book.
smart.
Yeah, it's a picture book.
Yeah.
And in our book, we talk about the contagious thing because with COVID, that's been like the big thing.
Yeah.
It's contagious. It's contagious. Don't touch.
Yeah,
don't
for kids
touch.
today, that could make them more fearful.
Do you go into
Exactly.
schools, or how do you meet up with families to start to introduce this to their youngsters?
Right now, I'm working with a local school to introduce. I go to libraries. We have our book in several libraries,
That's really good.
which is wonderful. We go to all sorts of networking meetings. We go to things like Elks Club, Lions Club.
I need to hook you up to
Rotaries.
come speak at my Kiwanis group. I've been in Kiwanis 17 years, and
Oh, I
Kiwanis
would love
is
to.
around kids, and we do
Yes.
programs in all the different schools. So, yeah, we'll talk after the show.
That would be great.
Yeah.
My first career, I was a music therapist. Then I
Oh,
became
wow.
a licensed counselor and worked for hospice for many years. So worked with a lot of families who had a loved one with end-stage Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
And then went on and got my RN. So I've been in healthcare, over 50 years. Tells you how old I am. And I knew there was nothing out there for little kids.
Yeah.
Just nothing. So we created this video and we knew we needed more. So we have 5 educational videos in our program and we charge for that. It's got to be sustainable.
Yes.
We have to pay
Everybody
the
needs to
internet and everything else.
Yeah.
We charge for that and it's $47 and it's what is Alzheimer's? And we explain it in terms that a child can understand.
Yeah.
We have mild stage. So what are the symptoms of mild
Right.
stage? What are some tips? And what are activities you can do with your loved one in mild stage? We have the same for moderate, and we have the same for severe. And for the parents, we have coping with Alzheimer's for the responsible adult with children.
Yeah.
Because it's so important to know how can kids get that relationship and maintain that relationship and make some great memories together. And then the other piece of that is, when does a child go and get a responsible adult?
Yeah.
Because there are certain things that the child can't handle. People with Alzheimer's sometimes become incontinent.
Yeah.
Now,
Or sometimes they might pick up a sharp knife that's just too sharp for them to be holding.
exactly. Or try to get out
whatever.
the door.
Right.
Try to wander.
Right.
Are you connected in any way with the Alzheimer's Association?
I spoke on their Ask the Experts a couple of years ago. I was one of their guest speakers to talk about children and Alzheimer's, and we have that kind of relationship.
They're a tough nut to crack.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Wherever we can make a difference.
There's plenty of business here for all of us. We have a huge aging population.
Mm-hmm.
We're
Yes.
living so much longer than we used to. Kids want information. They want to know what's going on, because if we don't let them know what's going on, they're fearful. They may be angry.
Mhm.
Tell me grandma's having a problem. Well, and then maybe that's why you might be a little cranky mama.
And we talk about that in our book. We talk about, remember, you had the flu. And how did you feel? And were you cranky when you had the flu and you didn't want to talk to anybody?
That's a great analogy.
And you just wanted to sleep? Yeah.
That's a
Well,
great
that's-
analogy.
So we try and explain it to kids in terms they can understand. But yeah, thank you.
And kids are smart.
Yeah, they are.
Mhm.
And they are so aware. And they're aware on the same level that someone with Alzheimer's is, because it's about emotions.
Yeah.
The radar is huge.
Yeah.
You can pick up when somebody's anxious, and I'm here to tell you, anxiety is contagious.
Yeah.
If you're anxious, the child becomes anxious, the caregiver gets anxious, and you've just got an anxious mess.
I think you got a wonderful message because kids are sometimes not real comfortable around elderly people to begin with.
Mhm.
And of course, now that's
They're acting a little
relative.
strange or whatever.
right.
Mhm.
Grandpa's grabbing me like he used to grab grandma. I've seen that
yeah.
happen.
You just never know. But I'm thinking if you sometimes can see your way clear to come to this Alzheimer's support group
I
that's
would
at the
love
Hale
to.
Senior Center. Yeah, they could really benefit by hearing what you do with children. So sometimes they just don't know where to turn.
No,
when
they don't.
Their loved one is a little strange or very strange.
And maybe they just don't know how to say it to their grandchild, but they could present the
Mhm.
book. It's
Exactly.
hard to have the tough conversations.
Exactly.
Or they can get the video series.
Yeah.
And the What is Alzheimer's video explains it in terms that kids can understand.
Well, and you know what? I think we need to educate the teens, everybody.
Yeah.
My grandson would come to the house with his friends.
Mhm.
I tell them, take out your cell phones. I subscribe to my YouTube channel. I say, then watch some of those videos, boys, because you're going to be taking care of me someday. And they're like,
Right, Gran, yeah.
But, a couple weeks later, I meet his friend in the supermarket, and he goes, Grandma, I thought that was kind of a joke about your YouTube channel. He said, but I went and looked at it, and I showed it to my grandpa, and it's helping him with my grandma.
Oh, that's so awesome. Yes.
Okay, then it's not so scary.
Exactly. If you kind of shelter children, they're going to wonder
More
what's
fear.
going on. The
Yeah.
fear gets even worse.
Yeah.
So when you're honest and open, it really brings the
Well, did you
fear
see
down.
that commercial at Christmas time? I forget who it was. It was Amazon or whatever, but it was a woman. It was like at Thanksgiving, an older woman.
Oh,
right?
beautiful.
And she just sat there and
commercial.
she just kind of stared. And the kids kind of like were like a little uncomfortable. And then the one granddaughter just took her and put her hat and coat on. It was like winter time, and took her in her old car, her old truck or whatever, and just drove her around. Took her to the house where she was born, the high school she went to. And then all of a sudden the grandma said, "Oh, I got to get back. My husband can't make the dinner by himself." And I don't think she
Yeah.
had spoken in a while.
Right.
And then she got back and he came out and he kissed her. Oh, I could cry.
Yeah, really.
Oh, it was so
Really.
beautiful.
But we have to pay attention to that. They're still there.
Mhm. And there's so many things you can do.
Excuse me? Oh, it's a Publix commercial. Okay, thank you,
Oh,
Publix.
Thank you.
But really,
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah, we want to have these conversations.
Really. And how
Because-
else would somebody know about you? You know, and what you do with a very difficult topic and dealing with the child mentality.
Yeah, that's why we want to get out there. She needs to get to the schools, and it happens. All of a sudden, you get that one fire. Believe me.
And then boom.
Yeah.
Is it just you that's here in Florida?
I'm just here in Florida. My partner, we did our music therapy internships together back
so
in
cool.
1980.
Oh my goodness.
That's how far we go back. And she's a singer-songwriter, and she is out in Texas, and she's the one who composed the original song. And let me tell you, music is so wonderful to bring people together and so much fun.
Yeah.
And we really encourage that. I spent a lot of times, my mom was never much of a singer, but once dementia set in, it really didn't matter.
Oh my goodness.
We had
it's
so much fun.
Important. It's so
She
important.
kind of lost all that stage fright. You know, that part of the brain went away.
Yeah.
And let's just have
Felt
fun
it
and
out.
sing. And
Cool.
absolutely.
And you said you had a little song that was it you? You sang your song. I don't have a song. Did you say you had a little?
We have an original song. If you buy the book, you get a free download of the song.
Cool.
And you'll hear the song too in our free online YouTube video. Mackenzie Meets Alzheimer's.
And all that will be in the description of the show, so anybody can go to it after the show and look it up and watch it. But yeah, music is so important. I remember I used to do a support group in this one community, and the husband was in the group, and that's a whole nother story right there. And he said to me one day, now his wife was becoming less and less communicative, and the only time she really was still with it was when the music man came. Like the guy would come twice a week to play the music.
Mm-hmm.
And so one day the man says to me, Linda, did you ever hear that song King of the Road? And I was like, yeah. And he said, well, you know, my wife wrote a song called Queen of the House, but we were young and we didn't have it copyrighted or anything. We sent it to Nashville and somebody else made it. I said, oh my goodness. He said, but if I could ever hear that song, because she said, I have a bun in the oven, you know, with one of their children. I searched and searched, and all of a sudden it comes in the mail, the perfect 45 record.
Oh my gosh.
So I give it to this guy and I said, can you put it on a CD or whatever? And then I talked to the people in the community, and I contacted his children. They sent me photos of the husband and wife around that time. And so we put the 45 record and made like a shadow box and stuff. And then we had the song on the CD. So, and the woman also, she had a boyfriend where she lived. And I know it was so hard for her husband, but like each one of them would sit next to her and hold her hand. Like that's so big of him. You know what I mean?
Really.
So we planned this whole thing, and we sent the boyfriend on a field trip. And her kids came, and the music man came. And he's playing music for like a half hour. Everybody's getting nervous, you know. And then he goes to any request, and somebody goes, one of our plants goes, King of the Road. And he plays King of the Road. Any other? And this was God speaking, because the guy said, I wish I could hear Queen of the House. And bang. And she was sitting in the chair with her head down, and she got up. And they danced the most beautiful dance. And the other residents like, you had a song? You know, it was so fabulous. So absolutely fabulous. And then after that, that community started celebrating each senior for who they were. Like the one was the Donut Queen of Chicago. So they actually let her go in the kitchen with her family and make donuts.
That is so beautiful.
Really,
that's so precious.
Yeah. Let them do what they can do. Bring back whatever you can.
As a home care nurse, I was assigned to go to this family, and there was a single mom. She was trying to work from home. She had 2 young children and taking care of 2 elders, both with dementia.
Oh my God.
And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I felt so hard for her. And I go into the house. It was peaceful. She got it. Here's one of the elders with dementia sitting on the floor with a little boy who is about 4 playing Legos. And the little girl and the other elder with dementia were sitting at the table putting together a jigsaw puzzle
Yeah.
while mom's sitting there doing her job from home.
Brilliant.
It was brilliant. It was so beautiful. It was so perfect.
And that's what we need to figure out.
Yes.
And you know what? She gave both of her parents a purpose
Yes. Absolutely.
to help the child with the Legos or the puzzle or whatever.
Yeah.
And let the child, have
Yes.
the good end of it too.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
All right. So where can our listeners find you? Where can they find the book? Give me your website, the whole deal.
Thank you. We are at MackenzieMeetsAlzheimers.com. Our Gmail is Mackenzie Meets Alzheimer's. We're on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, all Mackenzie Meets Alzheimer's. Our book is on Amazon, Mackenzie Meets Alzheimer's Disease. And on YouTube, you can just put in Mackenzie Meets Alzheimer's and you can pull up the YouTube video.
Thank you so much for being here with us today. I
thank
really
you for having
appreciate
me.
you.
And the work you do.
Yes.
Thank you.
And now it's time to hear from our wonderful partners because you know the deal. If you don't hear from them, you don't hear from me. So don't go away. We'll be right back on Connecting Caregivers Radio.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides.
Sean W. Scott has been practicing elder law and qualifying clients for Medicaid for over 30 years. While his practice is in all areas of estate planning, such as durable power of attorney, healthcare surrogates, and wills, he also prides himself on having a 100% accuracy rate on getting clients approved for Medicaid. Why Medicaid, you may ask? Do you want to pay up to $16,000 a month for a nursing home should the time come? Obviously, no one wants to have to endure this cost. So even though you may have planned well for retirement, the reality is things happen. Planning ahead is never too soon. You need to make sure your income and assets are protected so that you can take care of you and your loved ones. Florida law is very specific on how and what is protected and how to protect it. Give Sean a call. He can help. 727-539-0181. That's 727-539-0181.
My mom was getting older, but she was able to live pretty independently until recently. When her case manager told me she would be discharged from rehab in just a few days, I didn't know what to do. But I knew for sure that she couldn't go back living alone at home. So that's when I contacted Sunway's Senior Living Concierge. My Senior Living Concierge, Lisa, was there for me through the whole process and was a free service for us to compare in-home care options and how that cost would compare to assisted living. With Lisa's help, we found a great new home for Mom, and she is thriving. Take it from me, don't go through this journey alone.
Hi, I'm Ellie Baldwin, co-founder and president of Sunway's Senior Living Concierge. We're a free placement and concierge service for families to help compare senior living communities and find the best place for you or a loved one. Call us today at 727-314-6451 or find us online at sunwaysseniorliving.com.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
And we are back. And now our second guest on the show today is Mary Gynn. Hi, Mary.
Gynn.
Sorry.
That's
this
okay.
is the first time we've met face-to-face. We've
Right.
met over emails. And before we get into what you do, because I don't want to run out of time, let's talk about the event that you have coming up first.
Okay.
'Cause that's kind of how we met.
Okay, I'm a member of the Elks Club in Dunedin.
I got married in an Elks Club.
Did you?
Yeah, in New York.
Well, anyway, I don't
my
think they do
reception was
marriages there anymore.
No.
We are having a health fair. It's sponsored by the Women's Auxiliary of Dunedin, and it's at the Elks Lodge. We're going to have about 20 vendors, health vendors of all cross sections of healthcare, and it's open to the public. It's Saturday, March 23rd this year, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Dunedin Clearwater Elks Club, which is located at 1240 San Christopher Drive in Dunedin. And if you want to get any more information, you can call Helene at her area code is 203-543-5138. And we're working hard, and it should be pretty beneficial. You're going to learn a lot.
Yeah, if you give me that, I'll put all that information in the show.
You can keep that.
Thank you. I'm going to give this out at like some of my support groups. So yeah, that's a good thing. So Mary is a patient advocate, a diabetes educator, and a community health educator. So tell us a little bit about your background.
Okay, my background also is an RN, and started very young, worked med-surg after I graduated, worked for a while in surgery, loved surgery. But anyway, after a while, and then after I kind of left the hospital because I thought, hospital is very exciting when you're working there if you're a nurse. At least it was for me. And I thought, I'm from Chicago, so I thought a friend of mine was a visiting nurse in Chicago. So I thought, that sounds kind of interesting. And you really get to see Chicago. And I became a visiting nurse for 2 years. And I know, Alder, you said something about you were out in the community. And I think more nurses really ought to be, because once you get out there, you go to homes, and you see where people are living and how they are in their homes.
You can see what's going on.
And they have different questions and different concerns than they have in the hospital.
Well, and I think they feel cared about more.
Right. And in a doctor's office, they're not going to express them. They don't in a hospital. Hospital is, pretty standard stuff. And I thought, boy, I really like this. I'm also, across the years, I went back to school. I got a master's in health education because I began to believe strongly in prevention. I thought, people really don't know the beauty of their body and how they're put together. They don't understand their body. They think they eat, they digest, and then they eliminate.
Expend.
And in the meantime, what do you do with this thing you've been created with?
It's so amazing. It's like this little piece of spit and this little piece of spit got together. You talk about when you plant a seed and you watch that little leaf grow, you're like, look what a person. And everything that's in the body that just makes everything. It's amazing.
And once you learn about that, it's like, holy smokers. I've got in the little cell, in the magic in the little cell. And then, of course, they discovered DNA. And it's like, DNA, it's a word people use today. Well, that's not in my DNA.
Change people's lives.
It's your blueprint. And everybody's got this. And it's like, so anyway, along the way, I began to hear, when I was in surgery, I used to see feet being amputated. And I'd go and look at their chart and read diabetes. And then I thought, holy gosh, their feet are being amputated. So you go and talk to the patient, of course, and they go, well, my mom had diabetes. And I just expected that I was going to lose fingers or I was going to lose my feet. It's like almost like it was like a toothache. So I became very interested in diabetes. And then, about 15 years ago, they started talking about pre-diabetes. And
Explain to our listeners a little bit about pre-diabetes.
I will tell you. And I've been doing this for about 25 years now. And so the pre-diabetes was not introduced or wasn't really, let's say, discovered.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were looking at it. So pre-diabetes, as far as I'm concerned, as a certified diabetes educator, is like a heads up. It's a heads up. It's saying that you've got the gene. We all could have the gene. It just depends on, genes are today the big study going on. It just depends how dominant, how recessive it is. It depends on your lifestyle.
Yeah, definitely.
And I've got to underline lifestyle. So pre-diabetes is kind of like your blood sugar. You go in to have a test and your blood sugar is a little elevated. Your blood pressure is a little elevated. Your cholesterol is a little elevated.
Yeah.
It's called the
The next
metabolic,
thing is going to be a lot.
and it's called the
If
metabolic
you don't
syndrome.
change something.
And I tell my clients, metabolic syndrome, you got to latch on to some of the terminology also because you've got the diagnosis. And this is the time when you start to look and gradually start to change the lifestyle. I sometimes almost bite my tongue before I say that
It's hard
because
for people.
I know I'm going to hear
Backlash.
resistance.
Yeah.
The word change. I've got to change my lifestyle. But I try and be as kind as I can by saying that, it's a slow process and some people are overweight, some are obese, some are not.
Someone not getting out of the chair.
Well, I try to say your lifestyle,
Bless you.
which is basically what you've been doing for the last 20, 25, 30 years has led you up to probably,
A good portion of where you're at.
tripping that gene on.
Yeah.
And it's starting to show you that now is the time to
Take action.
listen to Mary.
Yeah.
So that because they'll go to the doctor
Good.
and the doctor will make the diagnosis. And God bless doctors. They're not trained primarily in nutrition. And they say, well, you need to lose a little weight and I'll put you on this medication and I'll see you in 3 to 6 months. Yeah. So I said, so what do you do between 3 to 6 months? Anything else? Did the doctors talk to you anyway of how you can monitor your own blood sugar? That's with a meter. Oh, I don't want to stick my fingers. I said, well, today they have Dexcom,
so simple.
which is very easy. And it's a sensor that you wear and you change every 2 to 3 weeks. You get the instructions.
Yeah.
And I said, it's very, very easy. And you have either your phone or you have a monitor that
Everybody's
tells you
got a
what
phone
your blood
today.
sugar is.
They won't let you not have a phone today.
Well,
Right?
and, and look to see if your insurance company will cover the cost of the Dexcom because that one.
Are more of them doing it?
Some don't do either one.
Okay.
And it's like, you're not
But if
going
you don't want to prick your finger,
This is a choice.
yeah.
That's why they discovered, some engineer discovered this. So I said, because you're not going to know what your sugar is from 3 to 6 months. And an A1C is going to give you an average of what that 6 months
Well, if you
is.
tell me who it is, I want to start testing myself every day. I want to see where I'm going, what I need to do. Because now you already told me that I'm whatever. So early detection with anything is the most important
That's
thing.
exactly right. And you don't necessarily have to go into a full diabetes event.
Right.
You can stay and some people go into a remission. Some people will start to lose. I'll say, how about a pound a week? Oh, I don't know if I can do that. Well, you just eliminate something.
Yeah.
But I said, if you have a meter or you have this sensor, after you eat a meal, you can see what your blood sugar is a couple of hours afterwards. And you can see if it raises your blood sugar,
Right.
look at the meal and eliminate something from
Exactly.
Mary, we were talking before the show about this, and we were just talking earlier about lifestyle. And what we were talking about as you go into your grandmother's house or even as a little kid, in fact, we were talking about birthday cake here. Don't we celebrate things with sugar?
Food. Yep.
Don't we go, oh, you were a good kid. You cleaned your room. Here, have a cookie. Or,
Yeah.
here, Grandma, you're going to Grandma's. Grandma makes the best cookies in the world.
Yeah.
We're going to have cookies. And that's our lifestyle. And somehow we've got to change that.
Yeah.
Because what's happening, these people that are predisposed are then becoming full diabetic because all they've been taught is how to eat, celebrate with food.
Well,
or sugar food.
Yeah.
That is, it starts when you're, just a youngster.
Mhm.
The problem is when you start learning about nutrition and food and that sort, most things have sugar in them.
Yes, they do.
And
everything in moderation.
And processed food.
Mm-hmm.
They need
read those labels.
And I teach them how to read a label. I teach them
a lot of people don't have a clue.
They
don't even realize. They start reading those labels and they go, "What is that?" I can't even say it. And I'm putting that,
Mm-hmm. I saw someone who had a bottle of ketchup. So it was a full bottle of ketchup, and next to it was the same size bottle of ketchup, but it had the amount of sugar in it that bottle of ketchup has. It was like almost half full of sugar. I didn't realize ketchup had so much sugar.
Yeah. It does have a lot of sugar. So does McDonald's ketchup.
Well,
oh boy, I better
fast food stuff.
Anyway, so what I do is, from my experience of being a visiting nurse in Chicago, when I moved down to Florida, I decided, how am I going to approach it? So I worked at a couple clinics, and it was okay working with the diabetics in clinics. Didn't see a lot of pre-diabetics because they have to really accept the fact that they've got, a diabetic incidence in them. And it's kind of difficult, the diagnosis. So what I do, I go to churches, I go to rec centers, I go to the senior center, I'll go to the library.
Like I say, wherever they'll take me.
There I go.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. I try and get the word out that I'm what's called a self-management educator. When you leave the doctor's office, most of your time is not going to be spent in the doctor's office. It's going to be spent at home and when you're out of there. So when you go and eat at a restaurant, how do you enjoy yourself without having, water?
Yeah.
And when you're home, how do you enjoy the meal? So I asked them, what do you like to eat for breakfast? What do you eat for lunch? And if you have a monitor of some kind, maybe you're sticking your fingers with a meter or the sensor, you can keep track of yourself, something of your own blood sugar at night before you go to bed. And then the real important one is the fasting in the morning. You can't run to the doctor's office every day to get this done. And
some people just ignore it, which is ridiculous because then they don't even know what's going on.
Mm-hmm. And
they don't want to know what's going on.
I'll also say to them, do you walk? Do you walk a little bit? Mm-hmm. Do you stretch your muscles in the morning before you get up out of bed? How do you keep the circulation going? So if you have any sugar in your excess in your circulation, it's not flowing up into your eyes and into your brain and coming down around.
Well, Mary, I tell my caregivers and their loved ones, if you rest, you rust, and you need to move to lube.
And
I love that.
Yeah.
Some of them have a little disability or, I can't. So as I was saying to Alder, I was saying, do you have a table, a dining room table? Walk around walk around your dining room table, start maybe by 5 times. One way, 5. Something, walk around your house. Walk to the kitchen and then walk back to the living room. And if you can't find something, keep walking.
Yeah.
I said, so you keep the circulation moving because it's so important. Because the problem is if you've got excess sugar because you picked it up on your monitor, remember you got to protect your kidneys also because that sugar is not only going to affect your brain, by the way, they're calling Alzheimer's diabetes 3 today.
Yeah.
Because of a lifestyle they're beginning to notice with all the research they're doing on Alzheimer's. And and diabetes is,
But you
it's
can
epidemic.
do
It's
something
epidemic.
about it. You can't do something about
Yes.
Alzheimer's.
That's-
You can
that's
do
true.
something about diabetes.
Yeah.
And as far as moving, I go to Curves, the old ladies' gym,
Mm-hmm.
3 mornings a week. And there's one lady that's like 90 something years old. And she's barely moving, but she's there. She got up, she drove there, she does the circuit the best she does it, and she's socializing.
Mhm.
Both things are so healthy for her.
Well,
Anybody just go walk around the mall or go walk around. How many beautiful parks do we have
True.
here?
it's just a lifestyle
A habit. You got to
has
get in
to
a habit.
gradually change. And I say to them, I'll support you. I'll give you a few tips, like a pound a week. If you can't lose a pound a week, lose a pound in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But I said, if you lose a pound a week in a month, you've lost 4 pounds.
Yeah.
In a year, 48 pounds. I said, all that plays into you having full control. I said, it's one of the few diseases you can really take control of and monitor and put yourself into remission. But you almost need a coach. And that's why I decided to go
People
back
do
to
need a coach because that's why they got in this boat in the first place.
And that's why I decided to go back to school, learn all I can about this stuff.
Which is
And,
so wonderful. We were talking about that too earlier. When you're in the hospital, the doctor comes in and says, okay, you're
Bye-bye.
diabetic. Here's your prescription. Okay, time to be released. And you're
Yeah.
like, what?
Yeah.
What do I do?
Right.
And it's so wonderful that there's people like you out there, Mary,
Well,
that can fill that
Educate
gap.
people. Right.
That's true. But I also tell them, when you start getting a diagnosis of healthcare, especially with diabetes, you're going to have a team around you that you can call upon, your pharmacist.
Mhm.
If you get a medication
Right.
or you get insulin and you're not sure and you can't get a hold of
Yeah.
your
The
doctor,
pharmacists are the best.
your pharmacist,
Mhm.
you got a physical therapist, you've got dietitians, you've
Yeah.
got me, you've got
Use your
people,
team.
Mhm.
besides your physician, who are all there with lots of knowledge about how
And encouragement.
So maybe, possibly, you can go into remission. It's going to take a little time, and dietitians are really helpful if you're needing something about weight and that. I've studied this. I can be with you. I've also sometimes gone as a patient advocate with some people to their physician.
Well, that's cool too because they don't know what questions to ask.
Well, that's right. And they go, they
Yeah.
have to get permission for me to go right
Yeah.
in, but then I show
It's
my
good.
license
Yeah.
and everything.
And it's an extra set of ears.
That's right. I had one physician say to a woman, older woman, who she probably had she really didn't know much about her diabetes or
Mhm.
her. And he said, when did you have your myocardial infarct? Well, you know what a myocardial infarct is. And I know.
don't.
And well, you don't. And she goes, doctor, what is that? What? And she's looking to me, and I said, ask the doctor what that is. Let the doctor tell you what that is.
Right.
Oh, you had a heart attack, right? Oh, I didn't even know I had a heart attack. So I would go to the doc. It's just, there's such a need out there
Yeah.
for community. It's called community health nursing. And I don't know if there's many programs today in the nursing program about the need for to get out there in the community. Because, many people won't come, they'll go to the doctor's office, but they're not going to, you have to go to them.
Mary, we're running out of time. So
Okay.
where can our listeners find you?
You can find me at MTM, that's like Mary, Tom, Mary. My last name, Gynn, Gyn, like in Nancy, and like in Nancy, at gmail.com. Where else?
Website?
Teachingforhealth.com.
Okay, and I'll put all the information in the show. Right now, we're going to hear from our wonderful partners, so don't go away. We'll be right back on Connecting Caregivers Radio.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Choosing the right chiropractor is an important choice to make. Located in Seminole, the Alexander Spine Center team is trained on the latest chiropractic treatments and technologies. At Alexander Spine Center, you'll find chiropractic and physical therapy care that is safe, effective, and a natural approach to pain and other health-related issues. Chiropractic unlocks your body's potential and natural healing process to ensure your life is a healthy life. We treat clients from the womb to the tomb. Call 727-397-3000 for a free consultation today, or visit our website at www.alexanderspinecenter.com.
They take good care of me twice a week, so check them out.
Arden Courts is not just a place to live. It's a place to call home. Residential living combined with quality caregiving. This is the philosophy behind Arden Courts. Communities created exclusively for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and related dementia who would benefit from a safe and structured environment. For additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides, call 888-478-2410 to locate a community nearest you. Inquire about our educational seminars, resource library, or support groups, or simply feel free to ask questions you may have about Alzheimer's and related dementias. At Arden Courts, we know, we understand, and we can help because memory care is all we do. Remember, call 888-478-2410 for additional information about any of the unique services Arden Courts provides.
We believe the power of the human body and mind can do amazing things, and that tapping into that power, not just tricking it with a temporary disguise, is possible. Superpatch technology uses a special pattern and vibrotactile technology to help you go from feeling blah to hurrah. Now, once the Superpatch is in contact with your skin, it triggers a neutral response in the brainstem that helps you tackle your daily problems head on. Whether you're struggling with pain, balance, stress, or focus, we have a solution that might be right for you. With Superpatch's 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Hi, this is Linda Burhans, the gal who cares for the caregivers. I started using the Liberty Patch over 3 years ago. I used to be a tripper, but since wearing a Liberty Patch, I haven't tripped once. The Liberty Patch is proven to reduce the risk of falling by up to 8 times. And as we all know, if you prevent the fall, you prevent the call. Don't wait until it's too late. Preventative solutions are the answer.
Superpatch does not claim to diagnose, treat, or cure illness. Superpatch is FDA registered. To receive 25% off your first order, go to sticktoit.info. That's sticktoit.info and learn more.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
And we're back, and you know how I love that Superpatch. One of my new clients just sent me a text yesterday, and she said, Linda, for the first time, I feel like I can take a shower without the fear of falling. Yes! So I'm so very excited about that. I'm also excited that Dr. Peter Rabins, who's the author of the 36-Hour Day, which is like the Bible of Alzheimer's, has come out with a new book, Is It Alzheimer's? 101 Answers, which I love this book better than the first book. I think the first book's a little dense for a caregiver to read, but anyway, he's going to be at Bethel Lutheran Church, March 14th, 10:30 to 1 p.m., lunch provided by Arden Courts. You can RSVP to Marianne at 771-1600 or Arden Courts Seminole, 517-7800. I will definitely be there. This man is brilliant, a wealth of information. So come. Also, attorney Sean Scott has 3 free seminars coming up. One is Tuesday, March 5th at 2 o'clock, Palm Harbor Library. Friday, March 8th, 2:30, Largo Library. Monday, March 11th, Seminole Library at 2 o'clock. Medicaid now and in the future. You get to speak to an attorney for free. He's another wealth of information. And then Sage's Theater is coming out with more phony baloney shows. Great education for seniors. I'm not going to announce them all, but you can go to sagestheater.org. Okay, Mary, where can they find out about the conference coming up, the event?
Okay, we're putting ads in Neighborhood News and the other newspaper, Senior Voice America. You can look up for the details of our fair that's coming up on March 23rd. Thank you.
Thank you for being with me here today. Thank you for being here with me today.
Thank you for having me.
Go to my website, nominate a caregiver for the caregiver conference. It takes you like 2 minutes. Every caregiver likes to be acknowledged. Thanks so much for tuning in. See you next week. Remember, God loves you all the time, and have a delicious day.